Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Northampton Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Wednesday, July 22nd,
Everybody mute your mic.
2020 to order. Before we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, I think we have a little technical issue. I'm getting some background echo.
Try that now. I think
Seems to
we're
be
good now.
okay. No, I still hear a delay. Does everybody else hear that?
I don't hear anything.
Amanda does. Okay, but we'll try to plow through. We'll see if it gets difficult. So I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence, please. Flags are behind me.
You have a couple people not,
I pledge allegiance to the flag,
Flag
United
of the
States,
United States of America
to the republic, which
which
stands
stands one nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty, justice.
all. Thank you, everybody. We do have members in the audience, attendees, so I do want to review our public comment procedure. We'll have two opportunities for public comment tonight. The first opportunity will be on agenda items only. If you wish to speak on any of the agenda items tonight, please send an email soon to publiccomment@nhtwp.org. In the subject, please put which agenda item you'd like to speak about. And in the body, please put your name and address for the record. We'll only take emails that have your name and address on it. If you would like me to just read your comments as opposed to being part of the meeting, you can send the same email and write out in no more than 300 words, please, what your comments are, and I will be happy to read them. The same will occur for public comment at the end of the meeting, with the exception of you're not required to put an item in the subject, but please put that you would like to speak and your name and address for the record, or your name and address for the record and 300 words, and I'm happy to read your comment out loud for the record. So we don't have any flag presentations tonight or special presentations, so I'm going to move right to public comment. And it does not look like we have any public comment requests for agenda items only at this time. Just give that another couple seconds. Okay, thanks. I'll move on to the consent items. First will be the approval of minutes. Frank?
if there are no objections, I request that the minutes be approved by unanimous consent.
Any objections?
No.
Okay, approved by unanimous consent. Thank you, Frank. Kim, accounts payable?
Kim has her mic off.
Oh, there she goes.
No, it's, oh, there
Okay,
it is.
sorry, I muted myself. All right, the bills list for July 8th, 2020, $821,879.78. And then I have the bills list for July 22nd, 2020, and that is for $689,521.02.
Any objection? Okay, they passed by unanimous consent. Thank you. Have no public hearings tonight or unfinished business, so we're going to go right to new business. The first item on our agenda is consideration of preliminary final plan of land development for Spencer Road. Barry?
Sure, thanks, Adam. May I ask, are the applicants on the video or?
Yes, there are at least two that I recognize. I will promote first Joe DeLuca to promote, and as well as
Joe Blackburn. I
Yeah.
think he's on.
and is John Richardson part of your?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe just, if I can confirm that each of those three members or three applicants are on video. I can't see them or,
They're coming
Katie?
on now. Yes.
okay, great.
Joe, is that all of your group? Joe
Yeah,
Blackburn?
yes.
Okay.
I see John Richardson is joining and Joe DeLuca myself. So
And
that'll be
Joe, okay, good.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, great. So for the board's benefit, what we're discussing tonight is a land development approval It's at the property at the corner of Temperance Lane and Spencer Roads. The subject application is to subdivide 287,834 square feet to 4 single-family detached lots. Lot 1 would be 77,583. Lot 2 would be 51,213. Lot 3 would be 45,033, and Lot 4 would be 82,828. The existing dwelling on Lot 1 will remain, and on-lot water and sewer disposal are proposed. So we have wells and also septic. The subject site is actually located in AR, Agricultural Residential District, which permits single-family dwellings on lots having minimum acreage of 43,560 square feet and minimum lot width of 150 feet. So all proposed lots meet that requirement. This proposal has been to our planning commission. There are 3 major waivers that we requested at the planning commission. The first waiver was not to require widening and curbing along Spencer Road and Temperance Lane. Based on existing conditions, the Township Planning Commission and consultants had no objection to this waiver. The second item was discussed is not to require sidewalks along Spencer Lane and Temperance Lane. It was a recommendation of the Planning Commission that a fee in lieu of sidewalks will be incorporated as part of, as opposed to having sidewalks installed. We had the Township engineer prepare an analysis of the proposed cost of that. And the proposed cost, as recommended by the Township engineer, came in at $37,825. And that cost did not include the other site work, replacement of guardrails or the extension of a culvert or lawn restoration, but it was the actual cost of the sidewalk, and that would be $37,825. The last waiver that was requested was to allow in certain sections less than 3 feet of cover over storm pipes. And Gilmore Associates recommended a partial waiver. So the applicant agreed to comply with the recommendations of the Township engineer, which has been incorporated as part of the draft motion. There's 2 other open items I just want to bring for the board's attention. One item is the discussion pertaining to lighting at the intersection of Spencer Road and Temperance Lane. The thought process here would be is that it's recommended that the police department evaluate the feasibility of a street light here. And it was their determination that the street light would be required unless it could be determined that the driveway lampposts are adequate. And this has been incorporated into the draft motion. So the initial thought was having a street lamp at the corner of Temperance and Spencer, but I think we could mitigate that by having lampposts. The other concern I think people from the Planning Commission had was that many people in this part of town may oppose the street lamp in that section. The other item of consideration was the resurfacing of Temperance Lane in the vicinity of the site. Was initially recommended by the Township engineer, but upon further review by the staff and consultants, it was determined that the condition is currently existing and not the responsibility of the applicant. So those are the 2 items. I would ask the applicants now to any comments they have on this your proposal and anything else I can add to the information about it.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm sorry, this is Adam. Would it be okay? Do you want us to put the plan up? Would that be helpful on the screen?
Yeah, if we can, I don't know if Bill's controlling it, if we can maybe to start with, go to sheet 3 of the plan set, Bill, which I think is the existing conditions.
Sure, thanks. I'll go back to mute now.
Good evening, and thank you for your time this evening, members of the board. Again, my name is Joe Blackburn from Whistler Pearlstein, here on behalf of the applicant, DeLuca Homes, with respect to their application concerning the property at 1321 Spencer Road. As Mr. Moore already previewed, the subject property consists of plus or minus 6.6 acres and is located in the AR Agricultural Residential Zoning District. As you can see on the plan sheet before you, the subject property is located on the east side of the intersection of Temperance Lane and Spencer Road, and is presently improved with an existing single-family detached dwelling, which is actually a portion of which is, I think, within the right-of-way, a detached garage, an existing barn, a pool, and some other residential accessory structures. As Mr. Moore previewed, applicant is proposing, and maybe Bill, we can just go right to the color rendering is probably the cleanest thing to look at. Applicant is proposing to subdivide that property into 4 lots, one of which would maintain all the existing frontage on Spencer Road and would continue to house or contain the existing improvements thereon. And the balance will be subdivided into 3 building lots ranging in size from just over 1 acre to just under 2 acres, each of which would accommodate a detached single-family dwelling unit. We did appear before the Township Planning Commission back in February of this year, at which time the Planning Commission did make a unanimous recommendation for not only the grant of all the requested waivers, subject to the one clarification that Mr. Moore mentioned, but also the grant of preliminary as final approval. Our intention was to quickly revise the plans and resubmit. Obviously, intervening circumstances have prevented us from being back before you in the intervening 5 months. But candidly, that probably in this situation wasn't the worst thing, because it really allowed us to do a deeper dive on making some of those revisions that Amanda had raised in her January review. And the plan that's currently before you, which is discussed in Amanda's June 9th review, is substantially cleaner, I'll say. I think John and Amanda have had the opportunity to work out a lot of the stormwater management issues. We've also had the time to, as Mr. Moore alluded to, speak to and get some input from the police department, as well as I'm pleased to report that I think as recently as today, Amanda, I don't know if you saw it, but we did get finally some clarification from DEP on, you'll see the unnamed tributary, which is depicted on this plan, and some disturbance of the riparian corridor, some work in the riparian corridor, which DEP said was okay. So we are seeking a number of waivers in conjunction with this plan, as are enumerated in Amanda's June 9th letter. As Mr. Moore previewed, the big ones really, there's a few that relate to some plan, just drafting notes. The major ones are those dealing with waivers to permit or to allow, or not require rather, the widening of Temperance Lane and Spencer Road, or the installation of sidewalk and curbing along those. I think it's probably fairly self-evident. I actually drove both of those roads yesterday just to make sure that there isn't a single stitch of sidewalk or curbing or anything on either stretches of those roads. So our thought is really that, we just are intending to keep with the existing nature of those roadways, with both sidewalks and widening. Obviously, as Mr. Moore again previewed already, there's some discussion to be had on the fees associated with that. The one other thing I would mention, just because it is different from the plan that was initially considered by the Planning Commission, is you'll see on the plan before you that each of the new lots rather, is proposed now to be serviced by a dedicated driveway. The plan that was previously submitted did have or propose a shared use driveway, generally tracking the path of the rear lot 4, and then branching off for the front 2 lots. The Planning Commission did have I don't want to say concern, because they just made some recommendations, but obviously we feel that this arrangement is far superior. It avoids the potential for conflict down the road, which is candidly inevitable in a situation where you have 3 different properties maintaining and using a driveway, a single driveway. It also somewhat mitigates the one waiver that we're requesting with respect to driveway width. We felt that, if everyone just had their own driveway, making them 12 feet would be less objectionable. So I would highlight that. That's the only substantial difference from the plan presently before you from that which the Planning Commission considered. And again, we were able to make that determination given the large downtime that we had to really kind of go back and go over things with a fine-tooth comb. I'm happy to go through the balance of the waivers, but as I said, they're large. The balance are largely technical and drafting. And I think, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the Planning Commission, you recommended or voiced the support of those waivers with the exception of 10, which we're fine with that clarification. We're going to maintain a minimum of 1 foot of fill over storm pipes. That's fine. Yeah, so I don't know if anything else, any other items of, items of the waivers you think warrant discussion. But otherwise, I am, again, as I said, joined by Joe DeLuca from the applicant and John Richardson from Dumac Engineering, the project engineer. Can make myself or either of those individuals available for any questions that the board or Amanda or anybody may have.
Right, just to note, I guess, from what you said, there are a few stormwater management related waiver requests, and obviously the plans aren't fully complete yet, but we are working with DUMAC Engineering, and contingent upon the plan being in compliance fully with the stormwater ordinance, then we would have no issue with those waiver requests.
Yeah, and as I think I mentioned, but if I didn't, it warrants reiterating anyways. The balance of the items in your most recent review are all we feel will comply items, so we're confident that we're going to be able to comply with those. So certainly, yes.
And I did receive from John Richardson this afternoon that correspondence from DEP regarding the one remaining zoning comment. So we do have that.
So that one's put to bed, I think.
Okay. What I'd like to do, if I could, perhaps, is start off with a motion. I do want to say I do appreciate everybody's efforts. I know this was, even though it's a small lot subdivision, it was fairly complicated, and certainly appreciate your efforts, Amanda, in working with the applicant, getting everything done. And I appreciate the flexibility in adapting to the requirements of the township on behalf of the applicant. If I could, I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
Okay, I move for the approval of 1321 Spencer Road subdivision, SLD 19-8, subject to compliance with the Township Engineer Review Letter dated June 9th, 2020, the Township Planning Review Letter dated January 29th, 2020, and the Township Traffic Engineer Review Letter dated January 28th, 2020, with the exception of the resurfacing Temperance Lane, which is not required. In addition, it is recommended that the requested waivers be granted exceptions as noted below. Approval is also in accordance with the following conditions. I'll read the 8 conditions. The applicant shall enter into a land development agreement and escrow agreement in a form acceptable to the township solicitor and engineer. This shall include a stormwater management, maintenance, and operational agreement. Number 2, a fee in lieu of sidewalks is required for all road frontages, which totals $37,825 based on a calculation by the township engineer. A fee in lieu of recreation open space shall be submitted in the amount of $6,206.86 for each new lot per the terms of the land development agreement. This shall not apply to the existing house. So that'd be 3 times the fee of $6,206.86. The applicant is responsible for obtaining any outside approvals that may be necessary, including but not limited to DEP and PennDOT. Number 5, an easement maintenance agreement is required for the shared driveway. And I guess in this case, it won't be a shared driveway. So I guess that waiver is not required. So,
Correct.
so I will delete that from the motion. New number 5 would be the approval of the Bucks County Health Department is required for the on-lot sewage and water facilities. Number 6 would be a partial waiver with respect to storm pipe cover is approved subject to the approval of the township engineer. So Amanda, that would be a minimum of 1 foot over each of the storm pipes.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and then last item 7 now would be a street light is required at the intersection of Spencer Road and Temperance Lane unless it can be determined that the driveway lampposts are adequate. The township engineer and the police department will evaluate if the lighting is adequate and does not adversely impact the neighboring property owners. So that completes my motion. I have a
Great.
second.
You have a second? And it looks
Okay.
like Eileen Silver seconded. I did see her mouth, but her mute was on. Thank you, Eileen.
All right, thank you, Eileen.
There we go. Thank you. Any further discussion from you, Barry, on this?
No, the only thing I can say is that, DeLuca Homes has been a long time builder within Northampton Township and a very satisfactory member of our community. And I'm pleased that they're, developing this site. I think, it's going to add a lot of value to the township. I know they recently developed, still working on a site development, Old Jacksonville Road, and I think that's going very well for them. So I'm very pleased to see this and recommend it.
Great, thanks. Eileen?
Yes, I just have some questions. Being that you are now having 3 separate driveways, are they each going to be 12 foot?
I think the question was, is each driveway going to be 12 feet in width? Yes.
So then you need a waiver, don't you? Because they're supposed to be 20 feet by 26, 612.1.c.
And that is waiver request number 6, as noted in Amanda's letter. So we have requested that waiver, yes.
But that's not on our motion.
Well, I don't think any of the waivers, I think there was my hearing of Mr. Moore's motion was that the motion was to grant all the waivers as requested, subject to the condition on the one waiver of stormwater. So I don't think his motion clarified each of there's 13 in total.
No, but we now have 7, and that's what we decide upon. When we have a waiver, isn't that correct, Amanda?
I think there are still 13 that are being requested. I think Barry was clarifying some of the items, but didn't actually list all the waivers. Is that correct, Barry?
Right, I guess, well, they're, Amanda, are they in your letter dated
They
June 9th?
are.
Yes.
They
so
There
I
are
think
some in her letter that are not,
Well, I'm
Use
incorporating
that.
that by reference, so I'm saying subject to compliance with the township engineer
With our
review letter dated
okay,
June
and
9th.
so all of
2000.
your 13, all of the waivers are in your letter, and every single one of them is the same, and that we're supposed to be doing, you're not taking out any of those waivers? Doesn't it say in there that it's 40-something thousand for the sidewalk?
So all of the waiver requests, of which there's 13, we have one clarification, which is for number 10, which would be a partial waiver for cover over the storm piping. And I believe the sidewalk fee was mentioned separately from any of the waiver requests.
So I mentioned that in item 2. So I think the way it works is that I've incorporated by reference Amanda's letter along with the planning commission, the planning letter. And the items there are part of this motion.
Okay, so then when we say, yes, we want this, we're saying that it's okay for all 3 driveways to only be 12 feet and
Correct.
not be apart. Okay.
Correct,
just-
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now, does that have anything to do with impervious surface, Amanda?
It was in their last plan revision, so that would have been incorporated into their last stormwater management design.
Okay, so they don't have to go to zoning or anything like that because
Mm.
it's over the impervious surface that we allow?
I'm not sure the exact numbers offhand, but they would have still been under the maximum allowable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and 2 driveways. Impervious surface. Oh, the driveways, now that there are 3, plus the one on Bristol, on Spencer Road, so there's going to
Spencer.
be 3 driveways coming out to Temperance, and there is 1 driveway coming out to Spencer. Has our traffic engineer looked at it to make sure that that is not going to cause any problems with 3 different driveways, right one after another, going out into Temperance Road Lane? Anybody
I would
know?
imagine the traffic engineer did review it. I
didn't see it in his review letter, that's why.
Right, I can certainly confirm with them. I don't have a copy of their latest review letter, though.
Okay, Bob, do you think that he would look at that as a problem, being that there's 3 driveways right then and there? Because I think he looked at it before they changed the plan.
Yeah, I don't think Joe is gonna have, there's not a lot of traffic on Temperance Lane.
Okay,
Virtually
isn't.
no traffic on Temperance Lane. But I don't
Okay,
think
just
Joe would have a
wanted to-
problem with that. I mean, conceptually, I would like to see those 2 driveways separated, but I think it's fine the way it is.
okay, and there's no trees or anything that are blocking because it's Temperance Lane and it's all
Right.
farm lane. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. That's it, thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. Kim? You're on mute.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Frank? Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
I have no problems.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions either. I would just like to thank the applicants for working with us on Zoom. You know, virtual meetings are sometimes difficult, but you've been very patient with us, so thank you very much for that. There's no other comment. I'll call for a motion. A vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye,
Who seconded that? I didn't hear that, Adam.
I second.
Eileen.
Okay.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Good luck.
Good night. Thank you very much.
So if everybody that's listening would just be patient for a second, Bill will clear the deck. And we'll move on to the next item. Okay, thank you. The next item will be to consider a resolution authorizing reimbursement of certain expenditures for the construction of fire stations from future bond proceeds. Frank?
Okay. The township has begun the process of developing concept plans and budgets for the construction of new fire stations in Richboro and Holland. The existing stations were constructed in the 1960s. At that time, Northampton, while changing, was still a rural farming community with less than 15,000 residents. It was well served by its totally volunteer fire company. Today, Northampton is a suburban community with approximately 40,000 residents. Over the years, there have been significant changes in staffing, training, and equipment requirements that we struggle to accommodate in the existing buildings. The new stations would be designed to meet the needs of our volunteer firefighters and our growing complement of full-time firefighters, and ultimately house 24 hours per day, 7 days a week operations. As the township begins to incur design costs, the board needs to adopt a resolution to allow these expenses to be charged against the future bond issue that will be necessary to fund the construction and design of the new facilities. In the resolution, the township states its official intent that a portion of the board proceeds will be used to reimburse itself for reimbursement expenditures. That declaration of intent does not bind the township to make any expenditure, incur any indebtedness, or proceed with the project. The township recently hired the UE Engineering, and I hope I said that right, to complete concept plans and preliminary budgets. They estimate the total project cost at this early date to be between $21 and $24 million. These estimates will be refined as we move through the design phase. The township expects to incur soft costs for site engineering, architectural design, as well as mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design to exceed $500,000 prior to issuing bonds. These expenses would be reimbursable from the bond proceeds when bonds are issued for this project. As of this date, we are committed to an expenditure of $8,500 for concept planning and budget development. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
I move to approve resolution R 20-18 to allow fire station project costs incurred prior to issuing bonds to be reimbursed from bond proceeds when bonds are issued for the projects.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Barry was a second. I'll ask for a comment at this time. Frank, anything further to add?
I think I covered everything I wanted to say.
Thank you. Barry? You're on mute, Barry.
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim?
Good.
Thank you. Eileen?
I just have to ask, Adam, are you going to be speaking to this resolution?
I had a couple things to say, but.
Okay, no, because I just want people to realize that this is not something that we are, just saying, oh, guys, we need a new building. We really do need 3 new fire company buildings. And two. And, but there are lots of reasons. And I think that our chairman is a little more eloquent when it comes to speaking about this. So I'm just going to stop talking and let him explain to our residents why this board thinks it is so important that we start this project.
Thanks. So my comments are, first of all, I think Frank did a very good job of outlining what the issue is. The 2 fire stations that we have today, one was built in 1964, one was built in 1966. They were designed for, again, a rural, small volunteer fire service. We've been able to make those buildings work for quite some time. However, as the township changed and grew and the call volume changed and the requirements around the safety and well-being of firefighters, health and safety has changed. We have not been able to keep up with the fire stations as they are today. And as we started to hire more and more career firefighters, which will continue in the future, as we become more of a combination volunteer and career fire department, there are many requirements, safety requirements that are required, especially when it's a workplace. A volunteer firehouse is a place where volunteer firemen come in and out, but that is not their career. They're generally not there for 10, 12, 24, 48-hour shifts like a career service. And when you do that, you do need to have certain facilities and safety mechanisms built in. The other thing we don't have is we do not have proper locker rooms, proper changing rooms. We don't have the ability to have separate men's and women's facilities, which is just not acceptable in this day and age. And we really need to just modernize the stations for the future. I think we've been talking about this probably for 10 years. This first came up when we got the first federal grant to hire career firefighters, and we've been working through it since. And now is the time to act. So those are my comments, and I'm going to support the motion as well. So if there's no other comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next, before we go into reports, I just want to remind the public, if you'd like to make a public comment at the end of the meeting under the comment period, please email your intent to publiccomment@nhtwp.org. Please make sure you include your name and address in the body of the email so that we can recognize you for speaking. If you prefer to just write out a statement, please do that, and I'm happy to read it into the record. So we'll start out with liaison reports. Kim.
Yes. All right, first Parks and Rec. Summer's finally here, and boy, do we feel it. It's been a couple of hot days, but that doesn't stop our Park and Rec staff from making sure the kids in camp are having fun. Camp started the week of July 6th. It's been a tough summer, so to say the least, but the campers and our wonderful camp counselors and pool staff are making the most out of social distancing and wearing masks. I did want to share with you an email that Jen Bean, our program manager, received on July 3rd from a parent looking to register her child in the Camp in the Park program. It read, I first want to say that reading over the material you sent me made me emotional in a good way. You're all doing such an incredible and fantastic job making sure everyone is safe as possible. And as a parent, I cannot feel more secure. I'm so happy that my daughter gets to at least try to have some bit of normalcy in this, and I can't even express what that means. Hearing accolades like this solidifies the fact that we have one of the best park and rec departments around. Holding camp and opening the pool this summer has not been easy, yet our staff has accepted the challenge. Last meeting, we proclaimed that July is National Recreation and Park Month. Our Parks and Rec department, their motto has shown that they are strong, selfless, passionate, driven, and essential. Oh, and by the way, that parent who wrote the email registered her daughter today for 2 3-week sessions. Another satisfied resident. Just to remind everybody, just check out the website at Park and Rec for any of the other camps that are going on. You can still get into some if you just check it out. One more thing, just remember to, speaking of the parks, trails, playgrounds, tennis courts, basketball courts, hockey rink, and ball fields are all open, but we continue to remind everyone to take precautions to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Let's continue to practice social distancing, wash our hands often, and wear a face covering. And lastly, if you feel sick, please stay home. Lastly, I want to take this time to thank our parks work very hard every day to keep our parks safe and clean. We rarely, if ever, get complaints about the parks. Keep up the great work. Now, the Senior Center. The Senior Center staff continues to stay in touch with the members of the center. Overall, the seniors have been doing well at staying safe, healthy, and active. All of the virtual activities are still going strong through the summer. The staff is working hard to create additional virtual opportunities for the members to remain engaged and moving. If anyone out there has any suggestions on virtual classes or is able to help the center with facilitating the classes, please reach out to Sheila or Kathy at the center. You can contact them via email or by calling the center at 215-357-8199. Most importantly, if you're a senior or you know of a senior who needs assistance, especially during the excessive heat that we've been experiencing, please contact the center. Just leave a message and your call will be returned. Stay positive, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Sorry, thanks, Kim. Frank.
The library, even though the building is closed, is actually providing quite a number of services for our residents. And I just want to remind people how they can actually get library materials. You call from home, they'll check out the materials to you at that time. You drive over to the library and you plan to arrive during pickup hours, which are Monday to Thursday, 1 to 7 p.m. and Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m. You call from your car, pop your trunk, they'll bring the materials out to your car, put them in them, and away you go. So that's how you can get books out of the library at the present time. I'd also like to remind everybody that there's a lot of virtual programs being offered at the library for adults, teens, and kids. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Frank. One comment I'll have, I picked up a book today. It was great. It was seamless, super friendly service, very fast. I recommend anybody that wants to get something from the library to try it. It was really good. Thanks, Barry.
The only thing I'll add, Adam, is that we're hoping to have a planning commission meeting in August via Zoom. We haven't had one. Zoning hearing planning commission. I know there's a number of forests for various projects in town. So more information I'll be coming out for soon. Hopefully. That's all I have.
Thank you, Barry. Eileen?
Yeah, I also got some books and Frank, I hope you can talk them into it even when we're open, that they continue doing that service because it was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was. I got 5 books that I finally were able to get. And the ladies who work there were very, very good about it. And people were pulling up after me, and it's a great service. And I do want to thank them all for everything that they're doing. Second of all, our parks workers who keep our parks clean are also members of our public works. So our public works is doing everything they possibly can to keep our township going during this pandemic. They did the new parking lot in the library. They're doing roads and fixing up inlets. So we do give them a kudos for everything that they are doing. Also, if you're interested, the school board is voting tomorrow on a Zoom meeting to the opening of school and the program that's going to be from September to December. Dr. Frazier had a few weeks, Thursdays ago, of going through the whole program, and the school directors are going to be working on that. So if you are interested, he lets everybody talk. So if you, just like us, if you put it in, you'll be able to talk about what's going on. And besides that, everybody stay safe, stay well.
Thanks, Eileen. I just have a couple of quick comments. First comment is, as you recall, back in April, I believe, we announced that we had hired a medical director, Dr. Ken Lavelle, who's a township resident and an ER physician, to work with us. And I just thought I would give a quick report that he has been invaluable in these last 3 or 4 months as a resource to us to deal with this pandemic. You know, local governments and local municipalities are not necessarily always ready for something that hits in a global way. And he really helped us make a lot of decisions. He's somebody that we can bounce issues off of. So the residents of our township should feel very comfortable that your local government has a resource available, and we're making the best possible decisions with the most up-to-date information. That is one nice thing about having a medical director. And again, I think we're one of the only towns around that has a dedicated medical director. So we're really happy to have Dr. Lavelle on board with us. And second, I just want to, on behalf of the police department, the fire department, and emergency medical services, and probably public works, we have been flooded with support from our residents, with food and sewing masks and dropping off N95 masks that people had in their garage. And I just want to say, on behalf of all of them, thank you. There's too many to mention by name, but it is really appreciated. I mean, it's not expected, but appreciated. I'll tell you, there's nothing more exciting than a bunch of guys getting a tray of meatballs from somebody. And you know, it's really nice to see the folks out supporting all the emergency services. And our emergency services, of course, I'm a little partial, but have not missed a beat through this thing. 24/7 service, haven't missed a call, and we don't expect to. So thank you on behalf of all of them. That's all I have tonight. Next up will be manager's report. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would echo your comments about our medical director. He has been a terrific resource for us in dealing with employee issues related to COVID in particular. I'm not sure where we would go to get that information otherwise. So it was a great decision on the part of the board to retain his services. I would also tell you all that our employees are all back to work. They've been back to work. Some are back full-time in their facilities. Others are partly in our facilities, partly working remotely where they can. We are still taking extreme precautions to protect our employees from being infected and from causing other people to be infected in the workforce. We certainly don't want to spread in our police department, our fire department, any of our emergency services or anywhere. And so far we have been extremely fortunate that we've had everyone in good health. I think a major issue on everyone's mind, I know I've talked to you all individually about this, is our trash collection problem. There's no doubt that we are having significant problems, particularly with collection of yard waste. Although I have to tell you that Mascaro is also often behind in collecting trash and recycling. They often miss, and we are in contact with them every day. I mean, every day. I've been communicating with their general counsel every day this week. And our partners in SWPSWAC and I are having a meeting tomorrow to discuss what steps we might take to try and address this problem. Their issue, according to them, is lack of personnel, the impact that COVID has had on their own workforce. They've had some sickness, which caused them to quarantine people. And I think that's continued, but we have a contract and they have to perform. And so we need to talk to them. We need to have a serious discussion, and we'll have a serious discussion about how we're going to address this problem going forward. They have asked us to give them 30 to 45 days. That was 2 weeks ago, to correct the problem. My belief is they have to get caught up. Yard waste is piling up. Trash sometimes is often missed. Whole streets are missed, and it's just not acceptable. So, our residents have been very patient. I talk to at least a handful every day about the problem. And I know my staff is dealing with them every day. Where they miss, we are letting Mascaro know. We're asking them to come back. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it is an issue. I want you all to know, you, the public, to know we are well aware of it, and we're taking steps to try and fix the problem. And I really don't have an answer for you right now, but suffice it to say, we're trying to seek a solution here.
Thanks, Bob. Joe Pizzo, Solicitor's Report.
Yes, good evening. Only that I want to announce for the record that the Board of Supervisors did meet in an executive session immediately prior to this evening's Supervisors meeting. The executive session lasted for approximately 45 minutes. Present for the executive session were all of the members of the Board of Supervisors, the Township Manager, the Assistant Township Manager, and I believe the Township Engineer. Two matters of pending litigation, excuse me, 2 matters of pending litigation and 1 matter of potential litigation were discussed. No official action was taken during the executive session, and no official action was required during this evening's meeting as a result of that executive session. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Amanda,
Nothing.
I
tonight.
owe you a report from
I
last
know.
month, so you can do 2.
I have 2 reports prepared for tonight. No, I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. And lastly, let me just check for public comment. We don't believe we have anybody signed up.
No, we have not received any emails.
Thank you. Well, having no public comment, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you. Good night.